Welcome to NTN Nightly. I am Janelle Novell. This edition's top stories. The Government of Saint Lucia implements several initiatives to achieve gender parity. Nearly 5,000 Saint Lucians have received the AstraZeneca vaccine. And all you need to know about the 758 Care Alert app. Saint Lucia on Monday, 8th March, joined the rest of the world in celebrating International Women's Day. Minister for Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development, Honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert, in a national address says while the island has made strides in addressing the disparities that exist between the genders, there is still work to be done. One area of priority for the government, she noted, is gender-based violence.
The comprehensive assessment of services for gender-based violence made possible through technical assistance from UNFPA identified the degree and quality of services offered to victims of gender-based violence and pointed to various gaps which guided the development of the package of essential services for women and girls subject to violence, which was launched on February 26 right here. Additionally, a comparative review of the Domestic Violence Summary Proceedings Act of 1995 with the 2016 Domestic Violence Bill and other domestic violence legislation in the region and beyond, which resulted in very specific recommendations for amendment of the Domestic Violence Bill, which, when enacted, will increase access to justice for a wider range of victims of domestic violence.
The Gender Relations Minister noted that the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed that men and women are very much alike and are impacted in similar ways. Women the world over have been at the forefront managing the COVID-19 crisis and account for the highest number of employees who lost their jobs. Women also accounted for the highest number of individuals who suffered abuse during partial and complete lockdowns. The Government of Saint Lucia has implemented a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring gender parity.
I have undertaken to strengthen the normative framework through the development of a transformative national gender equality policy and strategy that boldly and unapologetically seeks to create a policy framework for creating substantively equal opportunities and status for women and men in Saint Lucia. By so doing, I joined women activists and change agents around the world in ushering an era of parity, which challenges the norms of patriarchy that reinforce unhelpful and unfair triple burden of care in the home, community, and workplace for the proper woman.
That was Minister for Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development, Honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert. The wife of Saint Lucia's Governor General Lady Julita Snack commemorated the occasion with commendation for the women who put their lives on the line to ensure the safety of all during the COVID-19 pandemic. She noted too that while many strides have been made in achieving equality, there is much to be done.
More and more women are rising to positions of leadership in both the public and private sectors, breaking down barriers and achieving high levels of excellence. There are now more women in our parliament than ever before, although still not enough. On the downside, there are growing problems that have to be addressed. Women still face discrimination in the workplace and are targets of sexual harassment and abuse, again in the workplace. We are reminded ever so often that incidents of domestic violence targeted at women are still widespread. Government departments charged with the responsibility of looking after women's affairs are unable to adequately cope with the workload because they are understaffed and underfinanced. A little over a year ago, before the pandemic, Saint Lucia hosted an international forum. The aim of the organizations was to ensure that domestic laws and policies to combat violence against women have impact in the home, at work, and in the community, and are within the grasp of every woman, no matter her race, ethnic origin, economic status, or educational background.
The COVID-19 pandemic has placed additional burdens on women the world over, including the loss of livelihoods and having to supervise children at home with the closure of schools. Lady Julita explains that it is in times like these that women should band together, providing support to one another.
All this speaks to the need in our country for a vibrant women's organization or movement to continue to advocate, to keep issues involving and impacting women on the front burner. It is also imperative that women remain focused and vigilant, lest the gains that we have fought hard for over so many years for justice, respect, and equality begin to be eroded. Women everywhere want and should have a future free from stigma, stereotypes, and violence. A future that's sustainable, peaceful, with equal rights and opportunities for all. To achieve that agenda, women need to be present wherever decisions are being made. We cannot be passive or show disinterest.
Lady Julita snack. Saint Lucia is the only sovereign nation in the world to be named after a woman. And in celebrating International Women's Day, the Saint Lucia Tourism Authority, SLTA, is amplifying the She is Saint Lucia campaign with an inspiring video tribute in a continued effort to spotlight Saint Lucian women around the world. The campaign's landing page, stlucia.org/IWD, showcases the women, in addition to dedicated social media posts on @TravelSaintLucia. Jareen Georges is the public relations manager at the SLTA.
The She is Saint Lucia campaign has really enhanced for International Women's Day to raise awareness for our Saint Lucian women excelling in their various fields. And that is across all sectors from education, tourism, you name it. And so the women highlighted are from the USA, UK, Canada, and Saint Lucia. Of course, these being some of our key tourism markets. And of course, with Saint Lucia being the only island named for a woman, our tagline, let her inspire you. You know, this really speaks to the ethos of our people in really inspiring visitors through her excellence. And whoever comes to Saint Lucia, because, you know, Saint Lucians have that warm feeling, that warm personality that really leaves sensational memories.
The video features 15 Saint Lucian trailblazing women here on island in Canada, the United States, and United Kingdom.
We feature television personality Tracy Melqua, businesswoman Carlin Purcell, Chef Victoria Alexander of Tikai La Foods, author and motivational speaker Lovely Sheridan, Nathalie John of Dreamy Weddings, early education specialist Laura Henry Allen, broadcaster Brenda Manas, Team Great Britain sprinter Imani Lara Lancico, Agriculture Development Keithlyn Carew, Bay Gardens General Manager Mr. Waltrud Patrick, St. Lucia's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar George, Registered Nurse Julieta Frederick, In-Flight Supervisor Diana Lambert, Pilot Liz Jennings Clark, and of course Barefoot Holidays' Owen Louisi.
A little factoid for you. Saint Lucia was named after Saint Lucy of Syracuse, a name bestowed upon the country under French rule. In addition to being the only country named for a woman, Saint Lucia also is known as Helen of the West Indies, given the multiple battles between the British and French for the island. The nickname was earned after a British historian compared Saint Lucia to Helen of Troy's Greek mythological character because she too mobilized an entire navy. One final note on International Women's Day, the Ministry of Commerce, International Trade, Investment, Enterprise Development and Consumer Affairs, as part of its Love St. Lucia campaign, celebrates the success of women who contribute to the growth and development of St. Lucia by wishing them a happy International Women's Day. The primary aim of the Love St. Lucia campaign is to improve consumer awareness and increase domestic market share of local manufacturers and service providers. This month, the ministry takes this opportunity to highlight women in the construction sector. According to the International Labour Organization, ILO, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a significant impact on the construction sector, which is sensitive to economic cycles. Yet on the upside, construction holds much potential to stimulate recovery thanks to its potential to create jobs, and in turn, recovery measures can support the sector's transformation towards sustainability and digitalization. Over the last few years, the local construction sector employed almost 7,000 persons annually, and approximately 3% were females. The ministry salutes all women, particularly women in construction. The ministry celebrates the success of 3 women who own businesses in the construction sector for over 10 years. Mrs. Deborah Tobier of True Value Building and Hardware Supplies, Ms. Tracy Carrington of TR Realty, and Ms. Nicole John of NJ House Painting. The Ministry of Health is continuing the national COVID-19 vaccination drive. At present, Phase 1A and 1B is ongoing in various communities where high-risk frontline workers, people with non-communicable diseases, NCDs, and the elderly are getting vaccinated. At Friday, March 5, 2021, a total of 2,789 people had received the COVID-19 vaccine. Since the vaccination campaign began on February 17, 2021, a total of 4,883 people have been vaccinated. Jesse Leos reports on the vaccination sites held on the weekend.
The national COVID-19 vaccination campaign, launched on February 17th, continues at various venues on island. The first week of Phase 1B rounded off on Saturday, March 6th, with clinics at the Grosselet Resource Center and the John Odlum Secondary School, serving neighboring communities. This phase prioritizes senior citizens and individuals living with chronic medical illnesses. Among those to receive their first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine this week was Lydia Joseph. She explains why she opted for the vaccine.
Because I know the people that are in the high risk, it's more difficult with them when they have COVID. So that's why I know I'm in the high risk, so I want to protect myself. That's why I come and take the vaccine.
Joseph says by getting vaccinated, she is also protecting the people she comes in contact with daily. Like other Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine recipients, Lydia Joseph must receive her second dose in 4 to 12 weeks for maximum protection against the virus. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is reporting success with the introduction of the contact tracing app 758 Care Alert. We hear more in this GIS production, COVID Facts in 5.
Hello, and welcome to COVID Facts in 5, your comprehensive look at Saint Lucia's management and mitigation of the novel coronavirus. I'm Hermity Mark. The Ministry of Health and Wellness in the past year has been using contact tracing methods to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Contact tracing is the process of identifying, assessing, and managing people who have been exposed to a disease to prevent onward transmission. Contact tracing can break the chains of transmission and stop the virus. It is an essential public health tool for controlling infectious disease outbreaks like COVID-19. Government has invested in an app for that very purpose. Systems analyst in the Health Information Management Unit, Kevin Harris, tells us more.
The contact tracing app helps the ministry in its contact tracing by first allowing individuals to upload the data from their phones, which would include all the locations that they have been in the last 14 days. The reason for this is that normally human beings may not necessarily remember where they have been in the last 14 days. Also, remember that as somebody being contact traced, you were under a lot of stress. You may have just been informed that you have been diagnosed with a certain disease, and this may cloud your memory. So the contact tracing app helps by keeping track of those places and allowing the ministry to have factual information as to where you have been in the last 14 days. The contact tracing app is absolutely free. The contact tracing app is available in both the Apple stores and Google Play stores. All you need to do is search for 758 Care Alert.
St. Lucia's very own Harvard University graduate and researcher Khalil Louisi served as the project consultant. Remember, the app is not designed to invade privacy, nor collect or transfer your information. Join us next time for another COVID Facts in 5. I'm Humidi Mark.
This is NTN Nightly. Up next, Primus Hutchinson with the NTN Nouvelle, A Creole.
Si ou jwen un bil ki ho, gade si siten ou ka koule. Se pa tout le ou ka ywe, kote siten la ka koule. Avant ou kouye ou asko, examine siten la pa kou. Ekwi nimi wa ki asou mita. Pa seve dlo a pou 30 minutes pou yon neditan. Deviwe ekwi numéro a ki a sou mita. Si numéro a changé, si ten la ka koule. Kouye en ploma pour oje problème la vitement. Ça c'est en commission Rod Wasco.
Welcome back. We join Primus Hutchinson for the NTN Nouvelle, A Creole.
Monsieur le Général, Monsieur, Madame, département, qui est responsabilité pour information au gouvernement de Saint Lucia, GIS, à ce depuis télévision nationale pays NTN, qui a présenté une nouvelle à Creole, présenté Primus Hutchinson. Durant en discussion à ce NTN lundi le 8 à mois de mars, en observance journée internationale pour femmes, ministre de responsabilité des affaires relations femmes et hommes au gouvernement de Saint Lucia, honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert, déclaré que malgré il était plaît pour voir qui à présent femmes j'ai fait plus progrès en diverses positions en pays, et quand même pas encore déjà satisfait que femmes Saint Lucia j'ai trouvé l'occasion pour accomplir plus qu'ils sont capables pour. Et avouer que femmes Saint Lucia j'ai déjà ni go position en bureau gouvernement côté presque 10 000 limo c'est sécurité permanent et bien presque en hauteur position ça là. À l'éducation, ministre Rigobert dit qu'il a ni presque même limo côté 10 000 en ses positions principales dans l'école, c'est femmes. Dr. Rigobert a annoncé aussi en position organisation nationale, femmes encore kachebe haut position. Ministre a dit qu'il malgré limo bas toujours, la ni même femmes qui kachebe go position en secteur privé pays là. Il a ajouté qu'en ligne de santé et éducation, chef officier médical et chef officier niveau, tous les deux, c'est femmes. Aussi en éducation, sécurité permanent et chef officier éducation, c'est femmes. Et en parlant de ça, ministre de la Santé, honorable sénateur Mary Isaac, c'est une femme. Et aussi, lui, Dr. Rigobert, c'est ministre pour l'éducation. Mais il fait comprendre que tout ça fait et puis collaboration, ni femmes et hommes, que c'est pour eux. Comme la Terre qu'a observé lundi le 8 mars comme journée internationale pour femmes, ça qu'a fait tous les années, l'année ça là, c'est aussi qu'a servi l'occasion pour célébrer le succès femmes pays pour contribution pour le développement de cette ici. Le ministère des Affaires Commerce, Investissement et des Affaires consommateurs qu'a célébré le succès femmes en des contributions pour le développement en cette ici. Tout ça qu'a fait un programme ministère qui est nommé Love Saint Lucia. Ça qu'a fait pour aider et prouver l'importance des consommateurs pour venir plus au courant et aussi pour augmenter la place domestique les producteurs à cette ici. Le ministère a servi le mois de mars pour honorer les femmes qui travaillent dans le secteur construction. C'est l'organisation internationale des affaires de travail, ILO, maladie corona dévalisé opération secteur ça là. Mais en tout de ça, secteur a resté résilience et continuer pour établir transformation à la vie pays. C'est l'année qui passée, secteur construction a déjà employé presque 70 personnes tous les années. Et à peu près 3% c'était femmes. Malgré secteur ça c'est vraiment une majorité non, mais aussi il a apporté bonne occasion pour femmes aussi. Le ministère des Affaires Business et Consommateurs a félicité les femmes Saint Lucie qui emploient et puis secteur construction et qui a célébré particulièrement 3 femmes qui ont conduit business construction eux-mêmes pour à peu près 10 l'année à présent. Et qui c'est Deborah Tobier qui est business True Value Building and Hardware Supplies, Mademoiselle Tracy Carrington qui est TNR Reality et Mademoiselle Nicole John qui est business NJ House Painting. Le même Parlement premier coup réduit la vaccine AstraZeneca jeudi passé à l'établissement qui consiste même. Ça c'était un effort du ministère de la Santé pour bâtir plus confiance en parmi les membres publics. Chef opposition en qui consiste honorable Philippe J. après y trouver dose de la vaccine, fait un appel pour toutes ces lycéens suivre même direction ça là pour protéger koyo contre mauvaise pandémie ça là. Et crier à ce principalement monde qui n'est plus faiblesse de plusieurs autres maladies pour pas perdre la cap pour prendre dose de la vaccine AstraZeneca. Chef Kai Conseil, honorable Andy Daniel, dit que tous ces chefs en pays ni pour set un bon exemple à toutes les en ça qui primaire pour pays. Il dit que c'est pour raison que yon pour prendre la vaccine pour aider ou renforcer exemple ça là. Chef officier médical Dr. Sharon Belma George dit que différents départements de santé j'ai commencé le programme de la vaccine en toute Oléon cette ici et il est prêt pour si quantité de monde qui j'ai fait available pour prendre dose la vaccine ça là. Dr. Belma George dit que corporation publique là tout bonnement et selon 6 mois monde a commencé à combler très bonheur le bon matin pour toute dimanche journée pour programme ça là qui continuer. Tout durant ces semaines qui a continué avec Dr. Belma George dit que ces semaines pour venir le département qui a visité les instituteurs, ça veut dire teacher l'école et travailler en business touristique pour prendre coup de réduit dose de la vaccine AstraZeneca aussi. Plusieurs à ces établissements pour moun prendre la vaccine c'est qu'à plein passer la musique les moun qui sorti dehors pour recevoir dose de la vaccine en parmi ces établissements qui étaient à poursuivre service ça ça c'était lundi c'est place de sport à la vigie et musique moun déjà là bon matin pour aspect pour prendre écoute réjouir la vaccine ça là et c'est comme ça notre nouvelle là avant nous finir te vite madou qui lundi yo teni la vaccine à wellness center Cicero à l'hôpital Soufouye et la vigie comme tout à l'heure là et mardi yo kaini à Bellevue wellness center yo kaini aussi à Darren Sammy Cricket Grounds et la Richos Dennery ça c'est constituency council la Richos Dennery et aussi à wellness center à Slawi. Alors fait qu'on available et pour trouver la vaccine. Et c'est comme ça notre nouvelle là moi remercie autant pour regarder mon invitation pour je ne puis me considérer conserver la vie dans présenter l'autre nouvelle à quoi après ça mon vie pour cette journal.
Merci Apil Primus. That brings us to the end of NTN Nightly. Join us next time at 7 p.m. with a repeat at 7 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime on the Saint Lucia Government Facebook page or YouTube channel. I am Janelle Norville.